Okay.
Hey everyone, we're here with Dwayne Gosnell. He's going to go through his knives. He's going to show each one in different cuts. He has straight blades and he has curved blades, and he has a brand new one that no one has seen. And here, Jim Heiser, I got your shirt on.
Hey guys, I am going to jump up real quick and grab one more knife that I didn't pull out of the box. So we have all of them.
That's all right. I'll pan on over where we got stuff. The one on the very end's the new SKU.
I've got it here.
You got it out? Yep. Yep.
All right, we'll do a rundown. This is Signature Series knife number 1. This is the first one that we introduced, I think, back in 2006. It's an upsweep blade. It's got the rough out stock, which is, if I'm not mistaken, .005 thickness.
0.050.
0.050.
Yes.
Okay. And like I say, it's more of a pivot knife. It's got the back of it's pushed out. Makes good cuts when you're pivoting and you're roughing out, whether you're pushing, pulling, or you're actually coming across the end grain and hogging the wood off. There's nothing that's going to stop this thing. That big steel goes through there like nothing. The next knife that we rolled out, which is, well, we'll just go down the list and tell you what they were. This is Signature Series number 4, correct? Number 2. I'm sorry,
yep,
number 2.
Okay.
It's on there, duh. Number 2, which is the Baby Beaver, which is the smaller version of this. It's got the same steel as the original Beaver. It's a thicker steel, but it's in a detail, so to speak, blade.
It's just a shorter blade, but it's still got the .050.
Blade. It's got the upsweep, great for wrinkles if we're coming in here and just doing a pivot cut or a roll cut, whatever you want to call it. And it's also good enough for anything you want. One of the big things and the advantages I like of an upsweep blade when I'm personally using it as opposed to a drop point is when I'm coming in here and I'm carving in a normal position, when I'm coming down here to carve something, a drop point blade or a straight blade, the tip of the blade disappears the further I push it down. In a upsweep blade, the tip is always visible, so I can come in to the point I want without turning the wood or doing something crazy and seeing it, and I could come in there and do a nice chip cut in the corner, a separation between an arm, a hand, a finger, things of that nature. Those of you who know me know I carve with about anything that's in my hand, and the reason we have so many is not because I need all these knives. This is to suit what you need. I'm not recommending one or the other. I have my favorites, but the reason we come up and me and Rich work and talk together is because not everybody's hand is the same, not everybody's preference is the same. So I, along with Helvy Knives, want to get you the knife that works for you. And if y'all hear that popping that's in there, that's a straight blade versus an upsweep blade. You see what I'm saying? It just cuts and goes through the wood almost like a gouge will. There's no little resistance, or there's little resistance in there. I've got out of track here.
That's okay. So how you use the upsweep blade versus the straight blade, it's different how you use them, so to speak.
It is different, and one of the simplest ways I can show you is we're just going to take an ink pen and we're going to do this. And we're going to take an ink pen and do this. If I'm working in, let's say, the back or the midsection of a larger carving, and I just need to take something out of there, and I use a straight blade, if I'm coming in here, it's tearing. Okay, and I'm not doing this. Y'all can try at home. I've got to go all the way across the whole piece before I can make that cut to just get the center cut off, because it's a straight blade. With an upsweep, I can go and just address that area. There's a grain direction change. I can address just that area in the middle, and there's still flat here and still flat here, and there's another one. So it almost works as like a number 1 or a number 2 gouge in the event that I can get just in the area and roll just a small piece of wood in a flat surface.
Awesome.
So I think we're up to...
well, we did 1 and 2, and then we flapped our gums.
This is number 3. They're not in order based in... They're in order based in how we released them, not the style or the name brand. This is my second favorite knife out of all of them. And if you see me or have a class with me, this is the one that's normally in my hand, because I do know that there's a predominant number of straight blade carvers, so I don't want to use this one a lot when I'm teaching, because then they think they have to have that knife. And I'm not in the business of saying you have to put this one in your hand. I'll give you the pros and cons and let you make this choice on what best suits you. This is based on an old design that Rich came up with, and me, and we. It feels really good in the hand. There's no bulkiness to it. It tapers here, so you can hold this even though it's a large blade. All of my termites do that. They taper up here to use them like a pencil grip. So if I come in here and I just need a quick triangle somewhere, and I've got this one in my hand because I've been roughing out, it's really nice to hold like that and grip it. The grip is phenomenal. Again, this is the 050 steel.
Rough out steel.
Blade.
Just a Helvy rough out.
Okay, this is a Helvy rough out blade, 2 inches. Is that correct?
An inch and 3/4.
Inch and three quarter. See, I know a lot about my knives, right?
So it's just a standard rough out, 1 3/4 inch.
There you go. Thank you. I just know that I use them, and I use this knife a ton. I'm teaching a class up here in Converse this week, and I think aside from other cuts and demonstrating knives to the students, this is the one that I predominantly used. Great knife. This one is the Termite, original Termite, and it is series number 3.
Series 4 is based on the Termite blade, just smaller.
And y'all heard Rich say that the blade is smaller. It's just an inch and a quarter long. The handle's identical to that one. You can see how all these handles, they're cherry wood. They've got different variations. This being my oldest, see how dark this one gets. And that's just because it's been in my hand the most.
And also with cherry wood, the longer it's exposed to the air, the darker that the wood will get. Eventually, that's what happens with cherry wood.
Exactly right. Now, the good thing about this Termite knife, this Termite 2 knife rather, is it's really got the steel, the same steel that this one's got, so I don't have to be so concerned if I want to come in here and hog this wood off, even against the end grain. You know, it will really take some abuse, and I don't have to worry about a thinner knife. If I come in here and I do a hard cut, I don't have to worry about that tink that everybody dreads.
Right, because that's the rough out steel. It's just a short rough out.
Thick.
Yeah.
But I can still do those very fine cuts to get that shadowing every single time in there. So really good knife, really comfortable in the hand. I don't know specifically what size hands I have. I think they're pretty large, but you know, they're all the 5 1/8 to 1/4 with the micarta on the end of them there. So they fit in your hand really well. And again, pencil grip is awesome for all these knives. Me and Rich got to talking after we released these 4 knives, and we wanted to come up with kind of another version, but the same style in both of them. So we came up with the Beaver Jr. and the Termite 3. Now they're very similar to the first 4 series knives that we have. The difference, and the main difference is the steel is different. It's the .30 or .030.
Oh, okay, so medium detail steel.
Okay, medium detail steel.
We all know what we're doing, folks, I promise.
I just use them. I just use them. This blade has a little bit of spring to it, so to speak. Same way if I want to come in here and address a middle one. Now the thing from the spine to the cutting edge is a lot thinner in this one, so I can get tighter rolls in there and come and be a little bit more aggressive in the areas that I'm working on.
I do want to make a comment because, you know, we're using these sweep blades like this. And I get emails a lot from people who use sweep blades because we do a lot of sweep blades when we're making Don Mertz knives too. These sweep blades are used a little bit different, as Dwayne gave an example just a little bit earlier in this video, that they're not made for digging, if you will, because I've gotten emails where people's bought these sweep blades and they're like, oh, I broke the tip off. Well, they're not made for digging, they're made for slicing, as you'll see that he's doing here. You don't dig with the tip. With any knife, if you dig with a tip, you're going to snap it off. That's a given. And this is, you know, another reason why we want to do a video is to show some people too, you know, how you can use a sweep blade without snapping the tip.
Sorry, I was working on a little nose.
Okay.
But you can see these knives come from Helvey. If you're not familiar, they come extremely sharp. This is again another version of the original with the upsweep blade, with a thinner steel, and with the upsweep blade. It's an amazing knife. I use it for a lot of detail work when I'm cleaning up the carving at the end and I need to do those separations. I will use that. The good thing about this too is I can come in here and slice. I don't have to come in the tip, because three things are going to happen if we start digging with the tip of any knife. One is we're going to have all these cut marks down here when we finally get it done, where you've got 3 or 4 where you've missed your original mark. 2, I always wear a glove. However, I don't right now, just for this small demo. The second reason is if we miss with the tip of this knife, it's going to catch one of these piggies down here, and nobody wants their piggies caught, because then we go to the ER and not the market. And the third reason is when we're coming in here and we're twisting and doing all this stuff with the knife, you're going to come back with less knife, and you're going to hear that little tink in the end of it. And if you're twisting with the tip in there, you know, going around an arm or something, trying to cut that through there, it only takes one wrong twist and any knife is going to break, whether it's a Bowie knife or what have you. So that's the Beaver Junior. Stepping up to the Termite 3, which is series number 6. It's the same steel as the Beaver Junior, and it's the same as its father, so to speak, which is the Termite, in the fact that it's thinner from the spine to the cutting edge, and it's also got that flex in there.
Medium detail.
Medium detail, okay. So same thing. Narrow on the end, very good if I'm coming here and I'm doing the corner of an eye, but again, I've got to lift it up to see the tip because it is a straight blade. And then we're coming in there and doing those triangles. You got your other eye over here, or your other side rather. You want to get that triangle in there. That thinner steel it pushes in there like nobody's business. But the thing about this is it's also, with that long blade, it can be used as a rough out knife. Don't get so hung up on the fact of, well, I have to have this or I have to have that. The good thing about the quality that goes into these is I've never experienced that. Well, I broke my tip. I never did this. And Rich has actually sent me some knives before and said, hey, we're testing this out. See if you can break it. And I couldn't. Now, I'm not saying y'all need to challenge it. That's something that me and Rich was talking about with a couple of these designs. I really put these knives through the test, and if something breaks, we're probably doing one of these screwdriver methods in there.
Yeah.
So, we're now up to Signature Series number 7. Now, these are pretty unique animals, okay? Rich is calling this the spear point, correct? Okay. And we've got the boar beetle and the boar beetle 2. If you look at them side by side, they're versions of the same thing. One is smaller, one is larger. What I really like about these knives is you get that old school pocket knife feeling, in the fact that it's got, for me, if you see where what I'm calling the belly, where it comes back up thinner right in here, it really hooks into that wood, and it just really cuts it through. Because what it does in a regular knife, when I'm cutting, I'm slicing, so the knife's actually pulling out or away from the wood. This one kind of holds on to the wood. So this is really good for roughing out those big chunks of wood because it holds back in that belly. The other thing too is I've got a lot of rock in there. So I told you I don't use the tip of my knife to outline things, but I'll use the belly all day long to make that stop cut and relief cut. The good thing about that belly is I can get really nice rocking action on it and then just cut that cut right out of there. And then it has the tip on it. He rounds the back of the tip of this, so it will do the same thing as that upsweep, where as you get some good curves in there, and you can also use it in the middle of that area like we discussed before with an upsweep blade. and with that thicker steel, it'll really take off some wood. But like I say, the main function and I guess my top pick on this design is the fact that it goes through there kind of like a guillotine. So it's holding in, you know, the guillotine pulls the head into the trough, so to speak. So same way with this guy here, number 8. It's the same thing, but it's a smaller version. You take that hook in the back, or that belly, what I call a belly. I don't know what the technical term would be, but see, it just holds in that wood. And again, I'm cutting across end grain. I don't know if that'll pick up. Knives are razor sharp. And this is, I believe, that good Indiana basswood that Rich made me use. That's what he tests all his knives on.
Yeah, it's about as hard as a rock.
It's like carving on concrete over here,
yeah.
but we're doing a pretty decent job.
So, like Rich was over here whispering to me, that this knife, even though it's a smaller version of the larger one, this is the medium detail steel. So the steel's not as thick. It's a .035 versus the rough out .050. So that's something else we want to make sure that you're aware of. And if you go and look at these on the website, those statistics are stated there, but...
And the reason you're hearing, and I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, the reason you're hearing that popping in there versus the other upsweep is Rich has clipped the top of that knife out, whereas the top of this one is humped the other way. So when it comes back on itself, it's touching on the back side, which gives a chatter in there. But again, the rolling is still smooth. There's no breakage in there. All right, with that one, after number 8 came number 9.
You know, Dwayne's making a mess. I got to sweep now. Thanks, Dwayne.
Well, I'm trying to keep it on the table.
I'm just teasing
except
you.
for the big pile I just threw on your floor. Now, this one right here we came up with, and we simply called it Beast. It is the Beast knife. And when I say Beast, it is an absolute monster of a knife. It's got a little bit different version of a handle, and that's the only handle that we've got, or in all of my series, that is like this. It fits the hand absolutely amazing. I would definitely call this a rough out hogging knife. I mean, you could dismantle a cow with this knife. Don't let the size of this knife intimidate you, but it is a monster of a knife. But it's very, very easy to wield, very easy to control, and it's almost like a machine. The only difference is you don't have to put gas in this one, but it'll keep going for days. As long as you got the elbow grease to support it, it'll go through. This is one of those, if you're starting out, or if you've already got one out there and you're wanting to try a new rough out knife, and you're unsure about, you know, upsweeps, this is the one I would go for. It's, like I say, it is awesome. And it's, you compare it to the original Beaver knife, it's a good 1/4 inch or so longer. Rich can probably give you the specifications. This one's 2 inches, and then this was 1 3/4 inches, so a good 1/4 inch. There you go. So don't get the micrometer out, because like all of Rich's knives, they are all handmade. So there may be a 1/1000th of a degree difference. So, but again, this is in my top 4. This is probably number 3 of my all-time favorites. All right, then we come up to the Juggernaut, which it's not a flat blade. I'm going to lay it on a flat surface. It's not a flat blade. It's got a little bit of a sweep, but I really wouldn't consider it an upsweep knife, okay? The back of the blade is clipped out, so if you choke up on this knife, you're not going to get cut like you would a normal knife. We've got 2 divots in the top of this blade here, and then it's got a drop point on the end. The reason we did that is you can put your thumb on the end of it, and then you could put your thumb here, and you could almost do like a scissor motion. You can come in here and put that thumb guard and really get in here. Now, what I want to also talk to you about is this knife blade coming out of the handle is a drop point. So it's got a lot of things going on with it. It's a drop knife. It's got a slight upraise to it. So what I said guillotine a while ago, this is what I'm talking about. when it comes down into the wood, it grabs it. And even when I go across like that, my blade is not like any of these others in the fact that it's slicing through. Well, you may say to yourself, well, Dwayne, I thought a blade is supposed to slice. That's exactly what it is. But what this one does, in the slicing motion, it doesn't pull out as quick. So you can go across a longer area with less effort and less reinsertion of your knife, because it will stay and it'll keep on track, so to speak, so it won't slide out as easy. And with it having a little bit of an upsweep, we can get a little bit of the sweep action going in there, but this knife is absolutely fun to use. I know they've sold quite a few of them already. It is a fun knife to use. When I first got it, I designed it, and it was basically just a thought at that point. I worked around with some things, and I didn't know how much I was going to like it, but I absolutely love this one. It's got several things in here, and the fact that it's got 2 knuckle grips in it. It's flared in the back. It's flat, rigid, clipped out. Almost looks like that 57 Chevy fin coming back there. Absolute awesome knife to hold. It indexes really well. This is a very long pencil grip, but sometimes they're needed when I'm pushing. With it having this tapered part toward the blade, I can come back. If I've got that really long, weird spot back in a corner, I can slice it with it having that angle coming out, and it pushes in there really good, and you don't have to grip it as hard to hold on to. All right, coming up to number 11, we have the Dwayne, the eye knife, and it's not even named. It's just got a set of eyes on it. Awesome. It's based on, if you look at the similarities, it's based on the Juggernaut handle. But the difference is, what's the thickness of the handle?
The handle's about 3/8 thick.
About 3/8 of an inch thick, okay? Now, you can use this knife like this all day long, but I'm going to tell you, right here's where it's at. You write a check, you know, however you hold your check, or your pen to write your check, your pencil to write your name, whatever it is, it's the pencil grip. I love it. It's 3/8 of an inch thick. It's not as big as these right here. You can come in here all day long. And the reason we call it the eye knife is because of the tip we put on it. You can get some really detailed cuts in there. And it's got the thinner steel in it. What's the thickness on this?
That's .030.
0.030.
It's detail material. It's the same detail stock that's in our detailers on our website.
So, just
Hi,
really,
Dawn.
really simple, really easy stuff. But that's what I love about this. We did a promotion on the last Helvey live show that they had, and I think they've got nothing but great reviews back on the amount of knives that they sold. Great, great tool. This one, since I've got it in, I told you my top 5 or top 3 changes. This has been my favorite knife since I've gotten it. However, that may change, and the reason being is this is going to be on their website soon. Okay, this is series number 12, and it's called The Beav, B-E-A-V, The Beav. Now, we're going to call this a knife. Some of you are going to argue with us and say, well, that looks like a skew. You're exactly right. That's what it was based on. This is almost like a palm knife and a skew all in one. The back part of this blade is clipped out, so you can choke up if you want to. It's made with, is this the rough out or the .5?
It's rough out.
Okay, this is the rough out steel. I don't know how that's going to pick up in there, but that is some thick steel. Don't let that scare you, because I'm going to tell you, this thing is an absolute beast. Now, if you look, I'm literally holding that with a couple fingers. I'm not like a regular knife choking up. I'm holding this with a couple fingers, and just the cutting, slicing action of this is amazing. I mean, I've used this knife since, what's today's date? I'm unsure. It's Thursday, okay? I got this knife on Tuesday evening, and I have used the soup out of this thing in the last couple days, and I absolutely love it. Reason one, yes, it is like a skew. Okay? There's no denying it. But you can push this knife just like a palm tool, just like a skew. You can use it like a knife. You can use it on the pull cut. You can use it. I was doing wrinkles today in class just by turning it because it has that up sweep on it. If we're looking right in here, we start twisting that, and now you have a more realistic wrinkle instead of using a V-tool or something like that. Let's say we're coming back in the back here and we've got a separation between a hand and whatever. We can come back in here and use it just like a gouge and use it as a push tool and take out that area that we need. Whether it's between a back of a boot, if you're carving a rough out and you got that one hard spot that you're trying to separate the back of those boots on your brand new Bucky rough out. There you go, and you just clean it right up and get those and the push motion. Those of you who are not sure, the Helvey guys here have released also the Bucky O'Neill and Lucky O'Neill rough outs. They're about 5.5 inches.
Yeah, about like
and,
that.
And if you haven't seen them, go back through and I think you can pull up an old post where she's done it, or maybe she'll post them again. Fun little dudes to carve. If you want that carving that you don't want to spend 7 days on, but you want a really cute little guy, you need to order that. I don't think they're on the website yet.
Yeah, they're on there.
They're on there?
Yes,
How
sir.
much are those?
They're $12 a piece and then $3 for shipping. And you can order 5 and it's still only $3 for shipping. So it's a flat fee of shipping.
And anybody that orders one of those rough outs tonight, I will personally send you some wood chips.
Oh, he's a funny guy, isn't he?
I try to be. That's why I'm not a comedian. So.
And if you'd like to meet us, we're going to be in Converse.
That is correct.
And
Converse,
in Ohio,
Indiana.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yep. This weekend we're going to be at the Converse show in Converse, Indiana. That's hosted by the Eastern Woodland Carvers Club. It's on Highway 18 in town. And then next Wednesday, the 25th through Saturday, we're going to be at the Buckeye Roundup in Ohio. And it's Fletcher, Ohio. So it's around Piqua.
Campground.
Yep, Poor Man's Campground. So you guys, I believe Don Mertz helped me out there and said it was $20 to sit in and carve with all the wonderful carvers and instructors that are going to be there.
$20 for 4 days.
Yeah, for 4
Not
days.
each day.
Right, just $20 fee. I mean, that's awesome. Awesomely cheap to go do. But Rich will be there sharpening tools and knives. And
I think Jim Heiser will be there this year.
yes, Jim Heiser, Don Mertz, Jim Foster, Bruce Henn.
Don Worley.
Don Worley's going to be there. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of cool
really
people
good
there.
Talent there.
Absolutely.
And I think they have some bark carving instructors.
Cool.
There's a lot going on.
Awesome. We keep it real. So since
Come
we've
and see Little Sky and buy a bracelet.
yeah, I guess he's going to buy a bracelet. Who doesn't need colorful, pretty rubber band bracelets?
So tell them how they can order one of these knives, Holly.
Well, the new knives that he's working on here is not on the website yet, but they will be here fairly soon. Since he seemed to have proved them and he's happy with them, that lets me know that we can launch them. But as far as any of these other knives, they are on our website currently at www.helvyknives.com, and they're underneath our Signature Series knives. And then underneath Signature Series knives, you have to select Dwayne Gosnell.
Well,
And they're underneath them.
like I asked Don Mertz if he was stranded on an island with basswood and he could only have 3 knives, which 3 would he pick? And that's Don's choice set.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's ask Dwayne if he's on an island.
If
If
I'm
can
on
only
a-
have 3 knives.
If I can only have 3 knives, can I have a boat too? If I'm stranded on an island?
You could
But
live
then
in
you
a
would be
boat.
stranded, would you?
Well, you would in the boat.
I just want clean water and food.
Absolutely. All right, guys. If I only had 3 of these, somebody, stranded me on an island and 3 knives washed up, what would they be? As I told you, my top 3, me and Rich has talked about this before, my top 3 has changed based on what I'm into. I will tell you, again, it's shiny new toy. I love this tool, knife, whatever you want to call it.
The new one. The new number 12.
Right, new number 12. It's called the Beaver. Okay. That would be, believe it or not, that would be my number 3. Okay. My number 2 is going to be the Termite. Like I told you.
What signature series is that one?
This is signature series number 3.
Okay.
This one is in my hand when I teach a class more than any tool that I have. It is a straight blade, even though I love upsweep blades. All right, that's going to be my number 2. So let's put it number 3, number 2, and without hesitation is going to be Beaver Jr. Okay, it's the upsweep. It's got the flex blade. I can go from rough out, even though it's not rough out steel, I can go from rough out to detail carving with this blade and this blade alone.
And what signature series is that one doing?
That one is number 5.
All right.
Okay, so that would be if I'm stranded on an island, you know, and I only got 3 tools, that would be those 3 tools.
Okay.
Well, we may have to make a Dwayne's choice set.
There you go. That's Dwayne's pick.
Down the future, when he gets like Don and has 70 different knives, we might have the Super 6 or something.
Super 6.
Funny.
Right,
It
Don?
Yeah.
You're going to work on another one this week, aren't you?
He's like,
Yeah.
Dwayne ain't going to get me. You watch that new knife. I'm going to come out with the Sidekick Mega Stingray.
Well, coming out soon will
Yeah.
be Don's little stinkers eventually.
Don's little stinkers.
There's 7 in that series. And they got some pretty funky colors, too, on the handles, so...
Yeah, that's what
But-
we need to do. We need
There you
I
go.
need to start coming up with some colors.
Yeah. Oh, good God.
I don't have
So-
pink dye.
Yeah. Dye, no pink
No
dye.
pink dye.
Sorry,
I'm gonna
Dwayne.
get
No
me-
pink.
I'm going to get me a pink knife.
So,
All right, guys.
all right.
It's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with Rich and Holly tonight. They actually fed me this evening, so I didn't have to stay in the home.
Baloney.
Yeah, you're not. No, it was not bologna. I did cook, and I get credit for that. Thank you very much.
I don't know about those soy burgers in the microwave. but
Whatever.
anyway.
Whatever. You said you wanted another hamburger. Too bad.
That's right.
So, well, guys, thanks for joining us. Whoever still hung around, we're going to post this. So if y'all want to go back and look at it later to see his demos and stuff, it'll be there. So,
Say bye, Scott.
y'all have a nice evening.
Bye,
See ya.
guys.